The security footage was time-stamped December 24th, 11:47 p.m. That's what the police kept telling me. But I was there. I know what I saw. My name is Detective Vera Strand, and I've worked homicide for 17 years. I've seen things that would make your stomach turn. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the Christmas massacre at the Holloway Mall. It started with a call about a missing child. 7-year-old Iris Caldwell, last seen near the Santa's workshop display on the 3rd floor. Her mother, frantic, crying about how Iris had been so excited to tell Santa her Christmas wish. How she'd only looked away for a moment. I arrived at 11:30 p.m. The mall was closed, lights dimmed, that eerie silence that comes when a space meant for thousands holds only a handful of people. Mall security, the mother, a few janitors. And somewhere, Iris. We started in Santa's workshop. It was one of those elaborate setups, fake snow, animatronic elves, a throne where Santa had sat for photos. The Santa suit was still there, draped over the chair, empty. The mall Santa, a guy named Eugene, had clocked out hours ago. That's when I heard it. Bells. Sleigh bells, jingling softly from somewhere deeper in the workshop, beyond the public area, in the maintenance corridors that snaked behind the display. I drew my weapon, called for backup. The jingling continued, rhythmic, almost playful. I pushed through the employee door, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. The corridor smelled wrong, like spoiled milk and copper. My light landed on something red on the floor. Not blood, fabric. A long red coat trimmed with white fur. The Santa suit that had been on the chair was now here, but that was impossible. I'd walked straight here. No one had passed me. The jingling grew louder. I followed it deeper, my heart hammering against my ribs. The corridor opened into a storage room filled with old Christmas decorations. Broken reindeer, cracked nutcrackers, dusty wreaths, and in the center, Iris. She was sitting cross-legged, facing away from me, perfectly still. Too still. Iris? My voice cracked. Iris, honey, your mom is looking for you. She didn't move. The jingling stopped. I approached slowly, holstering my weapon, reaching out to touch her shoulder. The moment my fingers made contact, she turned her head. Not her body, just her head, rotating impossibly, 180 degrees. Her eyes were black, completely black. And her mouth opened. Wider than any human mouth should open. And she spoke in a voice that wasn't hers, a voice like grinding metal and winter wind. He knows when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Then she giggled. A child's giggle, but wrong, layered with something deeper, older. I staggered backward, my hand going for my gun again. That's when I saw him, standing in the corner. The Santa suit wasn't empty anymore. It was filled. A figure stood there, 7 feet tall, impossibly thin beneath the red velvet. The white beard wasn't synthetic. It was growing from its face, yellowed and matted. And its eyes. God, its eyes were the same as Iris's. Black voids that seemed to pull at the light itself. It took a step forward. The bells on its belt jingled. I fired. 3 shots, center mass. The figure didn't stop, didn't even flinch. It just kept walking toward me, each step measured, deliberate. It raised one hand. The skin was gray, stretched tight over 2 long fingers ending in black nails. "You've been very naughty, Vera," it said. And somehow it knew my name. "You stopped believing so long ago." I ran. God help me, I ran. Back through the corridor, through the workshop, into the mall's main floor. I could hear it behind me, those bells jingling, never stopping. I screamed for backup, for anyone. My voice echoed through the empty mall. I made it to the escalator, taking the steps 3 at a time going down. At the bottom, I turned, gasping. Nothing. The mall was empty, silent. The jingling had stopped. My radio crackled. Backup was here. I tried to explain, tried to tell them about Iris, about the thing in the Santa suit. They found me hyperventilating by the food court. Here's the thing that keeps me awake at night. They found Iris. She was with her mother the entire time, had been for the last 20 minutes. The mother swore Iris never left her side, that I had never shown up to help with any search. Security footage confirmed it. I was talking to an empty Santa throne. I was running from nothing through an empty mall. But I know what I saw. And 3 days later, on Christmas morning, I received a package. No return address. Inside was a single sleigh bell on a red ribbon, tarnished and old, and a note in handwriting that looked like it came from a century ago. See you next year, Vera. You're on the list now. Every December, the bell rings. Just once. No matter where I hide it, no matter what I do. It finds its way back to me. And each year, the sound gets closer, as if whatever wore that suit is coming back, coming to collect. This Christmas Eve, I'm not going to run. I'm going to be ready, because I finally understand what the list is for. It's not about naughty or nice. It's about who remembers, who still believes in things that should stay buried in winter darkness. And I believe now. God help me, I believe. I need to tell someone what happened at Lake Frost before they build the new resort, before more people die. My sister Tamsin and I rented the cabin for the week before Christmas. We needed to get away. Our mother had just passed, and the holidays felt suffocating in the city. The cabin was advertised as rustic charm, which is realtor speak for no Wi-Fi and questionable heating. It sat on the shore of Lake Frost, which according to local legend, had never fully frozen in recorded history. Not once. Even during the worst winters, there was always a circle of open water in the center, black and still. We arrived on December 18th. The cabin was exactly as advertised. Small, drafty, but the view was beautiful. The lake stretched out before us, dark water surrounded by ice and snow-covered pines. And yes, right in the center, that circle of unfrozen water, maybe 50 feet in diameter. The first 2 days were perfect. We drank wine, talked about Mom, cried, laughed. On the third evening, Tamsin spotted something in the water. We were sitting on the small dock, bundled in blankets, watching the sunset. "Is that a person?" she asked, pointing. I looked. There was definitely something in that unfrozen circle. A dark shape, floating. "Could be a log," I said, though I didn't believe it. It was too purposeful, the way it moved. We watched it for 10 minutes. It didn't drift. It stayed perfectly centered in that circle, bobbing slightly. "Should we call someone?" Tamsin asked. "And tell them what? We saw something in the lake?" That night, I woke to singing. A woman's voice, clear and beautiful, echoing across the water. I went to the window. The moon was full, casting silver light across the lake, and in the unfrozen circle, I could see her clearly now. A woman in a white dress, floating upright in the water, just standing there in the middle of the lake, water up to her waist. Her long, dark hair hung wet against her shoulders. Her back was to me. And she was singing a Christmas carol, but wrong. The melody was right. but the words were in a language I didn't recognize. I must have stood there for an hour watching her. She never turned, never stopped singing. When the sun began to rise, she sank slowly beneath the water. No splash. Just gone. I didn't tell Tamsin. What would I say? But the next morning, I found her pale and shaken. "Did you hear singing last night?" she whispered. My blood went cold. "You saw her too?" "Her? I heard her. I didn't look. I was too scared to look. We should have left then. We should have packed our things and driven back to the city. But there was something compelling about it. Something that made us stay. That afternoon, we went into the tiny town 3 miles away, to the only open shop, a combination general store and post office. The woman behind the counter was ancient, her face a map of wrinkles. "You're staying at the Merrick cabin," she said, not a question. "How did you have that look. Everyone who stays there gets it. You've seen Naomi." "Who?" The old woman's expression darkened. "Naomi Frost, the lake's named for her family. Back in 1876, she went missing on Christmas Eve. They found her dress on the shore, but never found her body. Folks said she'd gone ice skating and fell through. But there were problems with that story. Mainly, the lake had never frozen, not even in 1876, the coldest winter on record. So, what happened to her? Her family was hosting a Christmas party. Rich folks, the Frosts. Naomi was engaged to marry a man she didn't love, arranged by her father for business. She'd been having an affair with a stable boy, Quinn. The night she disappeared, Quinn vanished too. Some folks think they ran away together, but I know different. How? Because every Christmas, she comes back, rising in that circle of unfrozen water, calling for Quinn, waiting for him. Some say if you answer her call, if you go to her, she'll pull you down to where she's been waiting, pull you down to keep her company forever in the cold and the dark. We thanked her and left, her words echoing in our heads. That night, the singing started earlier. And this time, I heard words I recognized mixed in with a strange language. "Come to me, come down. Forever Christmas, forever cold." Tamsin grabbed my arm. "We need to leave, now." But when we tried to start the car, it wouldn't turn over. The battery was completely dead, which was impossible. It had been fine that afternoon. Our phones had no signal. We were trapped. The singing grew louder. I looked out the window. Naomi had turned around. She was facing the cabin now, her arms outstretched. Her face was beautiful and terrible. White as snow, eyes dark as the water, mouth open in song. And she was walking across the surface of the water, walking toward the shore, toward us. "Don't look at her," Tamsin screamed. "Don't listen." But I couldn't help it. The song was so beautiful, so sad. I found myself walking to the door. Tamsin tackled me. We struggled. She was crying, begging me to stop. And then, through the window, we both saw him. Another figure, rising from the water behind Naomi. A young man in old-fashioned clothing, waterlogged and rotting. His jaw was broken, hanging at an unnatural angle. He reached for Naomi with skeletal hands. Her singing turned to screaming. The sound was inhuman, rage and loneliness and fury compressed into a wail that shattered every window in the cabin. She turned on the figure, on Quinn, and they both sank into the black water, their forms dissolving into foam and shadow. The silence that followed was deafening. We spent the night huddled in the bathroom, the only room without windows. When dawn came, the car started immediately. We didn't pack, we just drove. I learned later that Quinn didn't run away with Naomi. He killed her, strangled her during the Christmas party, and threw her body in the lake, that one spot that never froze. Then, consumed by guilt, he walked in after her. Their bodies were never recovered because the lake is deeper than anyone knows. Deeper and colder than death. They're building a resort there now. Luxury condos with lake views. I've called, written letters, tried to warn them. No one listens. They'll be ready for guests by next Christmas. I wonder how many people will hear the singing. How many will answer her call? How many will discover that some promises last forever and some hungers never die? And Christmas by the lake is a very special kind of hell. The Thornwood Orphanage burned down on Christmas Day, 1952. 43 children died. The official cause was never determined, though witnesses reported seeing a strange figure on the roof as the flames consumed the building. Something that looked like an angel, they said, but wrong. Wings too black, face too white. This is what I learned after my 6-year-old nephew Silas started talking about his new friend. It began on December 1st. My sister Margot had just moved into a new house, an old Victorian on Pinecrest Street. Beautiful place, if a bit run down. Silas was excited about his new bedroom, the turret room on the 3rd floor with windows overlooking the neighborhood. The second night in the house, Silas came down to breakfast and announced, "Emmeline says the tree should go in the parlor, not the living room." "Who's Emmeline?" Margot asked. "My friend. She lives in the walls." Kids and imaginary friends. Normal. Except Margot hadn't told Silas that the formal front room was called a parlor. He shouldn't have known that word. And he certainly shouldn't have known that when the house was built in 1893, that room had always held the Christmas tree. I didn't think much of it when Margot first told me. But then Silas started knowing things. Impossible things. He told Margot that there used to be a fountain in the backyard, shaped like a cherub. She laughed it off until she found the property records. There had been a fountain removed in 1947. He said a woman named Constance died in the kitchen, falling from a stepladder while hanging herbs to dry. Margot checked with the Historical Society. Constance Fairfax, previous owner, died exactly that way in 1923. Has Silas been researching the house? I asked Margot when she called me, voice shaking. He's 6. He can barely read. Then how? That's not even the worst part. He says Emmeline is teaching him carols, old ones. He sang one for me yesterday, and I looked up the lyrics. It's from the 1850s. It was never recorded. Just sheet music in a library archive. I drove over that evening. Silas was in his room, playing with toy trains. He looked up when I entered, smiling. "Uncle Dashiell, do you want to meet Emmeline?" "Sure, buddy. Where is she?" He pointed at the wall, the empty wall. "She's right there. Can't you see her?" I looked. Nothing. Just old wallpaper, faded roses on cream. "What does she look like?" I asked carefully. "She's pretty. She has long yellow hair and a white nightgown. But her hands are burned. She says it doesn't hurt anymore, though." The temperature in the room dropped. I could see my breath. "Silas, how old is Emmeline?" She says she's been 9 for a very long time. That night, I did research. I dug through old newspaper archives, census records, historical documents, and I found it. The Thornwood Orphanage. It had stood where Pinecrest Street was now. The houses in this neighborhood were built on the orphanage grounds after the fire. Among the list of victims, Emmeline Rourke, age 9. But there was more. In the weeks following the fire, Several families in the newly built houses reported strange occurrences. Children claiming to see and hear things, objects moving. And then, on Christmas Day 1953, exactly 1 year after the fire, a family of 4 was found dead in their beds. No marks, no cause. They simply stopped living. The deaths continued, one family each year, always on Christmas Day, always in houses built on the old orphanage grounds. By 1960, most of the families had moved away. The houses stood empty for decades. Eventually, people forgot. The deaths were written off as coincidence, illness, tragedy, but they weren't coincidence. I tried to tell Margot. She thought I was being paranoid. "He's a lonely kid in a new house," she said. "The imaginary friend is normal. The rest is just weird coincidences." Then, on December 15th, Silas stopped eating. "Emmeline says we need to be ready," he told his mother. "We need to be pure. Christmas is coming, and we're going to be together forever." Margot took him to a doctor. Physically, he was fine, but his behavior was changing. He spent hours in his room, having one-sided conversations with the wall. He drew pictures, a Victorian building engulfed in flames, with small figures in the windows, their mouths open in silent screams. And above it all, that figure with black wings and a too white face. "The angel did it," Silas said when I asked him about the drawing. "Emmeline says the angel came on Christmas Eve and locked all the doors. It stood on the roof and watched them burn. It wanted to give the children a gift, freedom from pain, from loneliness, from growing up in a cruel world. It wanted to give them eternal Christmas." "Silas, angels don't hurt people." He looked at me with eyes too old for his face. "Emmeline says it wasn't a good angel. It was the other kind. The kind that loved them so much it couldn't bear to let them suffer anymore. And now they're all together, in the walls, in the houses, waiting for Christmas, waiting to share their gift." I knew then we had to get Silas out of that house. I begged Margot. We argued. She finally agreed to let him stay with me through Christmas, just to ease my mind. That was 3 days ago. Silas has been with me since. He seems better, more like himself. He's eating again, playing. But every night, I hear him talking in his room. And when I check on him, he's always facing the wall. Last night, I woke to singing. Children's voices, dozens of them, singing carols in perfect harmony. The sound was coming from inside the walls. I ran to Silas's room. He was standing at the window, looking out. "They followed me," he said. "Emmeline and the others. They said it doesn't matter where I am. On Christmas Day they're coming. The angel is coming. And we'll all be together." It's December 23rd now. I don't know what to do. I've called priests, paranormal investigators, anyone who might help. Most think I'm crazy. One priest agreed to come on Christmas Eve to bless the house, but he sounded skeptical. The singing gets louder every night. And Silas is changing. His skin is colder. His eyes are distant. He talks about how nice it will be when it's over. This morning, I found something in his pillowcase. A piece of burned wood, charred black, and a scrap of yellowed newspaper from December 26, 1952, with a headline, "Tragedy at Thornwood. Dozens lost in Christmas blaze." The singing has started again. It's only 2 p.m., but I can hear them. In the walls, in the floorboards, in the spaces between. They're getting ready. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. I'm writing this down because I need someone to know, need someone to understand. If something happens to us, if we're found on Christmas morning with no explanation, you'll know why. The angel is coming. The children are waiting. And they want to give us their gift, An eternal Christmas in the dark, in the cold, in the spaces between the walls where lost things go and never come back. Silas just came into my room. He's smiling. "Don't be scared, Uncle Dashiell," he says. "Emmeline promises it doesn't hurt, and we'll never be alone again. The walls are singing, the wings are spreading, Christmas is here." They call it the Advent game. You won't find it in stores. It doesn't have a manufacturer or a barcode. It just appears. Usually at estate sales, thrift stores, the backs of closets in old houses. Always the same. A wooden box, ornately carved with Christmas scenes. Santa's workshop, children opening presents, families gathered around trees. Beautiful, really. Victorian era craftsmanship. Inside are 25 cards, one for each day of December leading to Christmas. The instructions are simple. Draw a card each day at midnight. Complete the task written on it before the next midnight. If you complete all 25 tasks, you win your heart's desire. If you fail, or if you quit, well, the box doesn't say what happens then. That's the first red flag, isn't it? That an old parlor game doesn't tell you the forfeit. My colleague Petra found it at an estate sale in October. She brought it to the university, where we both work in the folklore department. We were fascinated. The artistry, the age. We carbon dated the wood to 1878. The cards were even older, the paper handmade, the ink mixed with something organic. Something that made it shimmer in candlelight. "We should play it," Petra said, her eyes bright with academic curiosity. "It's probably someone's historical family heirloom," I argued. "Which is why we should document it. Think of the paper we could write. Lost Christmas traditions of the Victorian era. Could be a major find." I should have been the voice of reason. I'm the folklore expert. I'm the one who's supposed to know that some games aren't meant to be played, that some rituals have teeth, that tradition and danger often hold hands in the dark. But Petra's enthusiasm was infectious. And honestly, I wanted to believe it was harmless, a quaint piece of history, nothing more. We started on December 1st. Petra drew the first card at midnight. We were in her apartment, drinking wine, both of us giddy with the transgressive thrill of playing a game over a century old. The card read, "Feed something that hungers in the dark." We laughed. "Cryptic," I said. "Very gothic." Petra put food out for stray cats in the alley behind her building. Easy. We waited for something to happen. Nothing did. At 12:01 a.m. on December 2nd, we both let out breaths we'd been holding. "See?" Petra said. "It's just a game." The second card. Give away something precious. Petra donated her grandmother's ring to a charity. She loved that ring. But rules were rules. The game demanded sacrifice, even if symbolic. Third card. Tell a lie that costs you something true. Petra called her sister and told her she'd never liked her. They'd been close. They didn't speak for 3 days, until Petra could apologize and explain. But the damage was there, a small crack in something that had been whole. Fourth card. Light a candle for someone who died badly. We went to a cemetery. Petra lit a candle at a random grave, a child's grave, weathered and forgotten. "Poor thing," she whispered. The fifth card changed everything. "Bring it something living." We stared at that card for a long time. "Bring what something living?" I asked. "The game." Petra's voice was uncertain. "How do we even—" At midnight, there was a scratching at her door. When we opened it, a bird was there. A cardinal. Red as blood. Beautiful. It hopped inside, directly to the open game box, and nestled in among the cards. We watched in horrified fascination as the box, absorbed it. The bird didn't struggle. It simply sank into the wood, disappearing as if the box were made of liquid. A small carving of a cardinal appeared on the box's lid, where there had been empty space before. What the hell was that? My voice shook. I don't know. But I'm not quitting. Petra's eyes had a fervent glint I didn't like. We're documenting this. This is incredible. The cards got worse. Draw blood under a full moon. Speak the name of something you fear most. Break something you can't replace. With each completed task, Petra changed. Subtly at first, sleeping less, eating less, staring at the box with an intensity that worried me. And the box changed too. More carvings appeared on its surface. Not just decorative Christmas scenes anymore. These were different, darker, figures with too many limbs, trees with faces screaming in the bark, children with empty eyes. By December 15th, I begged her to stop. I can't, she said simply. If I stop, I forfeit. Forfeit what? The box doesn't even say, doesn't matter. I need to know what the prize is. Don't you want to know? Your heart's desire, Carrick. Anything you want. December 20th. The card read, invited in. That night, something knocked on Petra's door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. We both heard it. Neither of us moved. Don't, I whispered. But Petra walked to the door. It's part of the game. She opened it. Nothing was there. Just the empty hallway, poorly lit and silent. But the temperature dropped 20 degrees in an instant. Frost formed on the inside of the windows. And in the mirror across from the door, we saw it. A figure, tall and impossibly thin, standing in the hallway. Dressed in old-fashioned clothes, Victorian era, rotting and moth-eaten. Its face was a smooth blank, no features, just pale skin stretched over bone. It bowed, a formal, courtly gesture. Then it stepped through the doorway. We couldn't see it anymore, not with our eyes. But we could feel it in the apartment. A presence, a weight. The air felt thicker. Breathing became difficult. It's here, Petra whispered, but she was smiling. We're so close now. 5 more days. 5 more cards. The tasks became impossible to complete without causing real harm. Take something from the dead. Petra dug up her father's grave and removed his wedding ring. Make someone bleed? She cut her own arm, deep enough to leave a scar. Forget someone you love. After that one, she looked at me with empty eyes. Who are you? She asked. Not joking. She genuinely didn't recognize me for 3 hours. December 24th, Christmas Eve. 1 card left. At midnight, Petra drew it with shaking hands. I was there, documenting everything. My academic curiosity now curdled into dread. We'd gone too far to stop. The presence in the apartment was overwhelming now. We could see our breath even with the heat on full, and the shadows moved independently of any light source. The final card read, Become the game. Petra stared at it. What does that mean? At exactly 12:01 a.m. Christmas Day, the box opened fully. All the cards lifted out, swirling in the air like a tornado of paper and ink. The carvings on the box began to move. The Christmas scenes playing out in jerky, stop-motion animation. The figure with no face stepped out of the shadows, fully visible now. It reached out one long-fingered hand toward Petra. No, I said, finally finding my voice. Petra, don't. But she took its hand. Of course she did. She'd completed 25 days of tasks. She'd earned her prize. The figure pulled her forward. She didn't resist. And as I watched in horror, Petra's body began to change. Her skin paled, smoothed, became like porcelain. Her eyes went empty. Her movements became stiff, mechanical. She was becoming like the carvings on the box, beautiful and intricate and utterly lifeless. She turned to me, her face a perfect mask, and spoke in a voice that wasn't quite hers anymore. "I won. I'm part of it now. Forever Christmas. Forever the game." Then she and the figure were simply absorbed. Into the box, into the wood, into the carvings. A new scene appeared on the lid. A woman with Petra's face, standing among Victorian Christmas revelers, frozen in eternal celebration. The box closed with a soft click. I haven't touched it since. It sits in my office at the university, locked in a cabinet. Sometimes, late at night, I hear music coming from inside it, music box music playing Christmas carols in minor key. And I swear I can hear voices, dozens of them singing along. I've traced the box's history as far back as I can. Every documented owner has disappeared in December. 23 people over 147 years, all gone, all part of the game now. Last week, a student asked if she could examine the box for her thesis project. I told her it wasn't available, but when I went to check on it, the cabinet was open. The box was gone. This morning, I found it on my desk with a note. "Your turn. It's December 1st. Midnight is in 7 hours, and I can feel it already. That pull, that compulsion. Part of me wants to play, wants to know what Petra knew, what all those others discovered. Your heart's desire, anything you want. But I know better now. I know what the forfeit is for losing, and I know what the prize is for winning. They're the same thing. Forever Christmas, forever the game. Forever trapped in a Victorian parlor trick that hungers for players, that feeds on tradition and compulsion and the human inability to leave mysteries unsolved. I'm writing this as a warning. If you find the Advent game, if that beautiful box appears in your life, leave it alone. Don't open it. Don't draw a single card. Because once you start, you can't stop. And winning is worse than losing. The box is calling me. I can hear it, humming with anticipation. Midnight is coming. The game must be played. And I think, God help me, I'm going to draw the first card.